Hi everyone, thanks for being with me. We've got another occasion where Cruella Credlin decided that the poor old Sky News reporter that was at the press conference yesterday relating to the detention and the new legislation that was to be passed asked the most bizarre, stupid, got you type question you could imagine. And Dreyfus, our Attorney General, had had enough. He decided that he was going to stand up for what was right and he was not going to apologise for something he didn't believe that he should apologise for. It was a stupid, ridiculous question and deserved to be challenged. In fact, it'd be nice to see more politicians challenge the reporters in the way that Dreyfus did. Call them out for the stupidity of some of the questions. Now, it was quite evident because I watched the whole press conference and the more mature reporters asked sensible and reasonable questions. And when we look at what this reporter, the Sky News reporter asked, we realise how immature the question was. It has no substance. It really was just trying to get you by asking a bizarre question about taking responsibility for something that a detainee had done once released. A problem which was not the government's, because they weren't the ones that wanted these people released. It was the High Court. And the frustration for Dreyfus was that he's worked so hard against trying to establish the notion that the High Court made this decision, not the government. And yet the press, particularly Sky News, and particularly people, as you're about to see, Cruella Credlin, I prefer to call her, she chose to defend her colleague. And I am sick of it. I'm over this shit that they carry on with in terms of defending themselves when they clearly were in the wrong. So I'm just going to play to you what Credlin had to say, and we will talk about it as we go through it, I think.
They become nasty and personal. And that's what happened today when the Attorney General, Mark Dreyfus, behaved badly in a press conference, responding to a very reasonable question from...
No, it wasn't reasonable. It was a stupid question, and a mature reporter would never have asked this question. And I do need to say that when she's talking about politicians being nasty, she just needs to have a look at Susan Lee during question time and Peter Dutton during question time, because they are revolting, absolutely revolting. So you can't defend a reporter and side with, being appropriate and not being angry and all sorts of. Susan Lee's always angry, and there are other shadow ministers that are just the same. So you cannot say, just in this one instance, that Dreyfus was wrong for being angry when your side of politics spends all of their time being angry at the other.
Sky News reporter Olivia Caisley. Caisley asked Dreyfus whether he felt the government owed Australians an apology, given four now foreign criminals released by the government had been detained for allegedly reoffending, highlighting the risk that the release of 148 detainees continues to pose to community safety.
No, this is where she's wrong. Oh, she's wrong at every level, but nevertheless, she's wrong because this was about one detainee reoffending and whether she apologised. So even Credlin didn't understand what this was really all about. I don't know, it's just a waste of space in my opinion, but nevertheless, she is on this terrible network.
Do you owe an apology to those in the community that have been subjected to misdeeds by some of these individuals?
Olivia, the reason that these people have been released from immigration detention is because the High Court has made a decision that means it is illegal for us to continue to detain them.
I want to suggest to you that that question is an absurd question. You are asking a Cabinet Minister, 3 ministers of the Crown, to apologise for upholding the law of Australia.
And that's it. That nails it. That's what this is all about. And I can understand why Dreyfus would have particularly have been upset at this particular point.
For acting in accordance with the law of Australia, for following the instructions of the High Court of Australia. I will not be apologising for upholding the law. I will not be apologising for pursuing the rule of law, and I will not be apologising for acting. Do not interrupt. I will not be apologising.
And the point here too was that she rudely interrupted him while he was giving her explanation, which was, which is unsightly, should never have happened, but she's an immature Sky reporter who Credlin is now defending.
For acting, I will not be apologising for acting in accordance with a High Court decision. Your question is an absurd one.
Okay, I think we'll move on here. Yep.
Now, that reaction from Dreyfus is telling for a couple of reasons.
No.
The first is that he reacted as forcefully as he did over an apology because he knows Australians are owed one. Now, this is textbook deflection. Don't give any ground, don't admit that an apology might be reasonable. Hit back hard and show you still believe the government's in the right.
Yes, and that's the whole point. The government is in the right in relation to what has happened here. Your side of politics, as was explained during this press conference, Credlin, your side of politics would have broken the law. I put up a video yesterday where Dreyfus explains who is responsible if a law is broken that is, or a ruling is gone against from the High Court. So if the government contravenes that law, that ruling, I should say, which becomes law, if that is contravened, then there will be people that will be responsible for that and possibly could be charged. And it seems to me that Credlin seems to think, and the Liberal Party in particular, seem to believe that because one chooses to disagree with a decision, that in this Trumpist way, they can then push against all of that, break the law as it stands, because it's a court-based ruling, that therefore they can do whatever they like. Well, that's just not the case. If you have a look at my video that I put up yesterday, you'll see the explanation for that. I just get to the point whereby I think someone, as I said in one of my posts, which has done quite well, I hasten to add, that people need to push back against the crap we get from Credlin, and the other morons on Sky News. We need to call it out for what it is, which is just right-wing media, Murdoch-based media, trying to convince the public that their version of events is always right and that the other side of politics, the left of politics, is always wrong. Well, there are times both sides are wrong, and I'm prepared to call that out when it happens, I can tell you. But at this particular point, on this particular issue, the right are wrong, and Dreyfus was right, and that they need to understand that if they're going to be in this unbiased world, that they need to criticise their side of politics for being as aggressive as Dreyfus was. Dreyfus rightfully was aggressive, and he had the right tone, I think, for that particular reporter, particularly when you compare it with all the other questions that were asked. And he said and did the right thing. If you watch Parliament, you'll notice them, the right of politics, the Liberal National Party, incredibly cruel in terms of the way they attack the Labor Party. And I don't blame the Labor Party for coming back hard at them either. That seems to be right for me. So let me know what you think of these comments. Let me know what you think of this particular interview or these questions. Make a comment down below and I'll get back to you. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and more importantly, make sure that you're safe.